I was looking, I was getting chemotherapy. I was getting the Western treatments. I was really struggling with side effects. I looked into, other stuff like CBD, and, our dad's struggled with Lyme's disease for years. So we're big advocates for juicing, and we have a strong faith, prayer. I mean, we were built on all those kind of nuggets of truth, but I think my whole research and just like interest in healing opened up. And then I found your documentary, which is wild. But I want to touch on radical remission, because that is a huge part of your documentary. And there's some incredible case studies. And can you explain, I want to talk about the 9 key factors and the commonalities that you found with all of these people. I think when I was going through my cancer journey, I was grasping at like, okay, I think my hope was that I would one day go to the doctor and they would say, you don't need to be here. You're fine. Go home. And so when I heard that happen to people, this like miraculous moment, I just was so also, like you, curious about who and why did that happen to certain people. So could you explain to people listening what radical remission is? And then we can talk about the 9 key factors.
Yes, totally. And I reference this all the time because it's such a powerful part of my documentary. And it's just, I think that it goes beyond cancer.
Right.
So basically, I'll tell you what it is. This woman, Kelly Turner, who's Dr. Kelly Turner, because she got her PhD, started learning. She was trying to figure out what, to do her dissertation on. And she came across these like spontaneous healing, radical remission stories. And she was fascinated. And what she discovered is that they were just kind of like discarded by mainstream conventional medicine as these anomalies. But then she kept finding more and more. So she decided to do her research project on these 1,500 people who had spontaneously healed, radical remission from their late stage terminal cancer. So what's wild is that, she found these 1,500 people. There's clearly so many more, exponentially more in the world. But essentially every single one of these people had late stage 4 terminal cancer, all different kinds from brain to toe, and they were told by their conventional oncologist that there was nothing else that they could do in Western treatment, and go home, gather your affairs in order, and spend time with your loved ones. And 1,500 people all went home, spent time with their loved ones, and healed. So she was like, dude, we should be studying what these people did, which is exactly what she did. So what was so intriguing to me is that she discovered there was 9 things in her original research that all of these people did a version of. She has since written a book, Radical Hope, and she added a 10th thing because she went back into her research. She discovered they all did some form of movement or exercise. Call it movement because if you're not well, movement is like walking or yoga or something.
Sure.
So out of these 10 things, we'll call it now, these 10 key factors of healing, only 3 of them were physical, which is radically changing your diet, using herbs and supplements, and movement and exercise. The other 7 are mental, emotional, and spiritual. And so the whole premise of heal is how we need to treat the whole person, where Western medicine sometimes just bombards the tumor or, it targets one organ or whatever, but we have to understand that the human body is an incredibly intelligent, intricately connected system. So we need to approach the whole terrain, the whole environment of the human body in order to make sure that the cancer doesn't come back, or make sure that the chronic illness is solved at the root. And so for me to know that 70% of the healing process is mental, emotional, and spiritual, I was just like, yes, that resonated so deeply for me because that's the holistic approach.
Right. It is. And it resonated so much with me when I was kind of healing, because I felt like that was really important for me to, visit past trauma, have a positive attitude, lean on, support of family members, and I think it's something that's not really talked about, and it's so important, and it's so fascinating that 6 of them, or I guess now 7, well, that's movement. Anyway, 6 of them have to do with your emotions. And can I read them really quick?
Yes.
I'm just reading them really quick for people listening. So 1 is radically change your diet. That's physical. Take control of your health. Number 3, I want to talk about this in a second. Following your intuition. Using herbs and supplements, which is physical. Release suppressed emotions, which is huge. Increase positive emotions. Embrace social support. Deepen spirituality. And number 9, which is so important, have a strong reason to live. That's pretty incredible. Can you talk about number 3 a little bit? Like just following your intuition, and maybe it has to do with people that you've talked to in the past and their personal stories, like what that meant to them, and people, maybe doctors you've talked to, and Kelly Turner.
Yeah. Intuition is everything. We have this kind of internal guidance system that never really leads us astray. What we struggle with is determining, which voice in our head is it our intuition that will never lead us astray, or is it, our rational ego mind? And that's the hardest thing to decode. But if you start to pay attention, it's all about cultivating awareness. And it's also about, getting still so that we can kind of silence the cacophony of untruths in our head and get to what we're feeling in our core, in our soul, and our spirit. And so, there's so many stories about